Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Woohoo! Party! Obviously, a bit of a sanguine day in crypto land. Unfortunately, woohoo! The Bitcoin has not bottomed yet, and we just forged to new lows. But I was quite pleased to see, and really what I want to hear from Andrew. I don't know whether Andrew's on the call here this morning. Are you here? Andrew, there he is, Andrew Chung. I don't know whether you were patient and disciplined, but I sure hope you got your level hit here. I know you were watching with bated breath. Yeah, good. Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. Excellent. So, there were some people that on the site that were patiently waiting for lower levels to get hit. And I think we just got resolution. And if anything, seeing the snapback following the AB equals CD. Hopefully you can see on my screen here that that level finally hit. I think a lot of the guys who were really patient and really disciplined just got paid there this morning. So way to go, guys. Nice job. Today is Thursday, 26th of September, and for whatever it's worth, everybody wish my son Liam happy birthday. He is now officially an adult. I am going to be spending a good portion of this afternoon and early evening with him. So I probably won't be around the site, but too much. But if I'm not mistaken, I think we'll get all these videos and stuff done. There is no class today, so that actually works out fine. And TRI has meetings later on tonight that hopefully I can get back to, but that's here nor there. Because it is Thursday, that means that it is baby powder report day. Dun dun dun. So that means that we have Julian on the call. Julian, are you here?
I am here. Sorry
Yeah.
about missing it last week, guys.
Oh, that's
It was
okay.
a friend's birthday, and I was having a bit too much of a good time at 11 o'clock at night, so
Yeah,
I wasn't able
understandable.
to make it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
But
the way it
oh,
goes.
we have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today. A lot going on in crypto, as everybody knows, and I've got some little sneak peeks to give you guys on what I'm working on in the background here at TRI. Our future options course that's been, everybody's been hearing about it for like a year, and I'm trying to finally work on finishing it. So I'm going to give a little sneak preview today.
Well, that's encouraging. All right, so I'll just do like a quick sort of 5 minute overview of what I see happening in the market. And then we'll jump into the baby powder report. And while we're doing introductions, the Duke of Albuquerque is driving the bus this morning. I always like to say hello. How you doing this morning, Kevin?
Doing good, thank you. Just
Good,
getting
good.
ready to get all powdered up.
All right. I love your PMA. Um, with that said, just quick boo of the broader market. For whatever it's worth, I was a really big fan of using this free software. The software was actually bought out by a bank firm here in Canada, and it sort of disappeared. But and I was actually really fortunate because it was just literally. We were in class yesterday for the our group tutorial for the level threeers, and we were sort of talking about platforms and stuff to be set up. And I just out of curiosity was like, well, this is the software that I used to love to use, and sure enough, it's actually back available again. Medved Trader, they're calling it. But in essence, lets you watch the entire broader market depth, order book, everything. And their basics software package is free. So I really like it because, and I don't know whether I can show on this screen or not. I think, yeah, it's on the wrong screen. Um, oh, darn, I'm not quite sure how to show this, but I will just for the for people that are interested in You can hook up your real-time brokerage account to it and do all your order entry and stuff off of it. If you are interested, take a look at it. But you'll probably see Brian talking a bit about this going forward. Be prepared that Brian's charts are going to look a little different here. But nonetheless, and really more, it's like order management and quote service. Like here is my quote board. I have it on another screen right now, but I'm just watching all the ETFs, and you can watch the actual tick data and stuff. So super, super cool. So that's kind of what Brian was been distracted by overnight. So my apologies. I got all wrapped up in that when I found it in the school, and I was just all night I spent working away on it, getting it set up. So as for the broader market, what I really see, just quick commentary before we release Julian here. Risk on, risk off. Again, kind of what I said in that public video yesterday. I was really surprised at how quickly this whole impeachment conversation about Mr. Trump is gaining speed. I suppose one of the reasons...
Didn't they release the transcripts?
Yes, and thank you, Julian, for stepping in. Transcripts were released by the whistleblower.
So shouldn't that make everything kind of show that it's kind of nonsense?
Well, the irony of all of this is that it's kind of like this is my interpretation. The U.S. House of Representatives is controlled by the Democratic Party. They want to placate their because keep in mind their elections are every 2 years. So they want to make their constituents happy, go after Trump, go after Trump, go after Trump. But the way the impeachment process works in the United States is the House of Representatives puts the case together, and they bring it to trial, and the U.S. Senate itself sits as jury. And for an impeachment to actually go through, you need at least 2/3 of the Senate to vote for that case. Considering that the Republicans control the Senate right now, the scuttlebutt is, and there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that the Senate would vote for impeachment. So I get the impression a lot of this is just nothing more than just grandstanding. And I think one of the reasons why Pelosi didn't want to put forth this impeachment sort of conversation in the past was she knows full well that, it's just going to land flat on its face if it ever gets to trial. So I agree that a lot of this is fluff. What's really interesting, though, is that, these whistleblowers are stepping up very, very quickly and bringing this stuff to the public's attention very fast. And I think that actually caught Mr. Trump off guard a little bit. And having said that, back to our original conversation, risk on, risk off, feels very much like a risk off kind of day in that stocks are kind of floundering with this. The econs that I saw coming out are actually extremely light right now, so it might be just a function that the market is not really being driven by econs and just sort of being driven by sentiment. Today we had GDP growth rate came in basically in line. But you can see like econs, there just isn't that much. We've got durable goods, personal income, personal spending coming out tomorrow. That'll probably drive price. But it is a bit of a, it's a journalist day, as Marat says here. Any way you look at it, we had a big jump up yesterday on kind of the market sort of, discounting this stuff, as you said. I think that transcript, probably the insider saw it. Stock market had a pretty big rally into the end of yesterday, but the irony of it all is that, and this is driving me crazy, is the rally did nothing more, and this morning's open, did nothing more than just bring the market back to the actual original breakdown level. And you can see my gap up here. This is where I want to buy another put. So we might find into options expiry kind of idea that they bring the market up to fill in this gap. Tough to say right now anyway. So that's sort of the state of the stock market as it stands. I think probably, and it kind of bums you out to see this, but really my opinion, I did see some people passing around some interesting videos done by Caspian News Service. I'm not quite sure who they are. Talking about the Saudi Arabia event. I still think that it was entirely staged to try and get crude prices up above those expiry levels, and then literally on the other side of that expiry, prices just melted down. Still haven't filled in the gap, so risk on kind of proxy oil, what have you, still I think has further to go. And there's also these cheeky gaps right down in here as well. And in a weird sort of way, and we kind of mentioned this yesterday, I've been sort of talking about wanting to short things like the bonds, the yen, the gold, I just have to patiently wait for trade location. And I think this is still working out. And the same message I said the other day was, I think this is probably going to take like a good week or two to play out. So just sitting patiently waiting. Nothing really too dramatic to report in Stockland. We'll say that some of our big jumper uppers recently that we sold halves on doubles and got free positions on and stuff, they're coming back down to earth. So a little sanguine in that regard. Things like the pharma names. Really good lesson where you gotta have your orders working at your levels. And on the other side of the vent, now that I'm in a free position, I don't really care, but I can completely understand if people are like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna get out of here. The Duke the other day on Sonos was like, man, this looks really toppy, I want to get out of here. Again, I've got a free position, thinking January options. I'm shooting for up here, but I'm not really in a big hurry because there's no risk for me right now. But I can completely understand. And, this is kind of what I'm seeing, we were watching some of these names thinking about buying, but we needed to see the market come back down. And I think that's exactly what's happening here is, our sort of thesis about cycles. If you are a stock investor, I'm not really thinking a hell of a lot's going to happen here in stock market land for probably, the better part of, actually this is going to go right into the end of October. So the next month, it's going to be a pretty big slog here in risk on sort of markets. And then to sort of finish off that thought, is Bitcoin a risk on, risk off proxy? I'm getting the feeling that Bitcoin is a risk asset. And more importantly, the way that the altcoins acted, as I just mentioned a moment ago, S&P's kind of, waffling up here, but the junior stock market, the Russell 2000, carved out a beautiful weekly inside bar reversal fractal top and has been heading lower. And frankly speaking, I see that the altcoins are basically doing exactly the same thing. Recent potential bottoms and things like Litecoin, good example. You better obey those stops and get the hell out of there, or else you're sitting on just a disaster. Same thing with Ethereum. Setups failed. This one, at least, the stop was at scratch, making new lows. The bull just isn't here. It's just as simple as that. And then the last thing I would say is, like I said to begin with, those people that did have the patience and discipline to ride out this failure, I think we've come into interesting technical objectives here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the corn calm down a little bit, but having said that, there is no bottom in just yet. We were conjecturing, I guess, yesterday about whether We had Adam and Eve type setups here to mark a bottom, and the floor just fell out of the market this morning, so off the table. It might be interesting to get Julian's take on RSI studies here on Bitcoin, but I'll leave that for him. And actually, that's probably a good segue. Why don't we'll sort of leaves Brian's commentary at that. We'll open up the floor to Mr. Julian, and let's see how we're going to do this. We'll go over here. I'll stop presenting, and that way we don't blow up everybody's screen. And then we'll jump on over to Julian. And where is Julian in this list? There he is. And he's screen sharing like a boss using his new computer. All right, that looks good. Then we'll put this over here. All right, sir, you have the floor. Tell us what's on your mind this morning.
Okay, so you want me to start with Bitcoin, since that's like kind of where you left off? Do you want? How about we do it in? Let's be extra confusing and do it in reverse today. So we'll do Bitcoin,
sure,
altcoins, and then we will go through the stock market.
Okay, you've got the floor.
So since Bitcoin's been so exciting here, you can see on my RSI on my daily, we had hold on, let me see if I can. If originally I had an RSI here like this, okay, it would have been like this, false breakdown here, move higher, another breakdown, you would have drawn something like this, then it would have moved up, and then after we get to here, then I would adjust my level and go like that, and then we get here's our breakdown again, recovery back into the channel, breakdown again. I mean, this move's been confusing. It hasn't been an easy move since 13,000. It really hasn't been. From an RSI exclusive perspective, it's been extremely confusing. But what I can show is, if I then lower this again and say, okay, if I keep this as my low down here, let's see if I can even grab that. Can I get it? Just like that. If I keep this as my low, I make this is my ultimate low. You can see it didn't really break through this level and close until really here, until we got the breakdown to 8,500. Then it's like, oh crap. And that's our serious breakdown level. You also can look at MACD here. It's kind of the same pattern. You could have drawn, there was this like steady uptrend where you could totally have been sucked into being long Bitcoin. Unless you account for, this, or if you can even do it like this way. But I think I prefer the other one. The other one I prefer. And you can see how we have this serious breakdown and this continuation move here with absolutely no divergence at all coming in. I think the only thing that gives me pause is we've got a 9 on the TD mark, but again, that doesn't always work. It's just one thing to look at. I mean, you can see here in the past we got a 9 and the rally continued. Other time a 9 and pause, but then continued. I'm worried that this is one of those cases where, okay, we've got a 9, but we're going to keep going lower. I don't know where the bottom is. I really don't at this point. We have to see what happens here. But from a daily perspective, it doesn't look good. I mean, we do have huge level of support at 7,500, as probably almost everyone knows here. But if we break through that support, the next one's not till 5,000, and then boom, we're down in the 3,000 area. From an RSI perspective, this looks absolutely horrible. Just total train wreck here. If I even do a 4-hour, sorry for all the lines, it's totally confusing, I know. But if I do a 4-hour, you can see it's just really bad. I mean, we might have a slight divergence forming, obviously not confirmed at all. But in the 4-hour, we have a bit of a divergence. So we could get a reversal at the 7,500 area, but we've got to wait for it to develop. I don't have a trade yet. I'm waiting on the sidelines. I do have a few alts that I'm holding. We can get into them, but I'm only holding them because I didn't get out in time after buying them, and I'll talk about that and how I kind of got like screwed over by a false RSI signal on the daily chart, nonetheless, which normally doesn't give false signals. So getting that was extremely frustrating. I don't really have much more to say on Bitcoin. I think everyone here knows that, this breakdown level was really bad, and that, it could potentially go far, far lower. I mean, we could be down at 3,000 in a week or two. I wouldn't discount that potentially happening. Maybe it takes a month, but it could.
Just to
What?
interrupt here, just look at last year. I mean, look at where the floor was painted.
Yeah, it's right here, 3,500.
Well, no,
That's your floor.
no. All through the summer. What were those lows? And they were about 6,000. And we just dumped 50%.
In this summer? This summer you're talking about?
No, last summer. I mean, look at your triangle.
2018?
Yeah. So, it seems logical to me that they're going to knock this thing in half off of the floor. So, a recent floor there was about 9,500 or so. So my hunch is probably like 4,500, and that basically takes us right down into reload zones. I mean, ironically enough, this is almost an absolute carbon copy of last year's price action.
Yeah, it really is very similar. I was looking at it. I was like, I think I can draw the same type of, I just go like this. Oh, that didn't go the way I wanted it to. Hold on. Just go like that. If I could get it to line up. And then I just go like this, kind of down here, and boom. It's almost, let me zoom out. Why can't I? I can't zoom out anymore. We got to go to a daily. Yeah, so this one is really big, and then we've got like a mini one here. See that I have almost the same thing.
Most importantly, the floor there at about 9,500. Notice that the low was almost exactly half of that floor. So my hunch is whatever you figure that floor is, that they probably want to take the market down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Murat. It's what I find actually a little bit interesting about this is how incredibly carbon copy this is of last year's price action. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, so we could fall all the way down and then get a reversal back again halfway, go down halfway, down halfway. It's crazy how it just it drops, goes back up almost halfway, drops, goes back up almost halfway, drops, goes back up almost halfway, drops again, does it again, and then you get your huge massive drop. Yeah. And then it takes a while. The
interesting thing about this is if you start throwing fibs on this, we're coming into mountain man levels here, so we'll probably see a little bit of play at this level. And those key lows from back in like May, those are, there's probably that tail there down on that May low, that's always been really suspicious to me. And I think I even put a tweet out to that effect yesterday. So
May.
A little bit more. There you go. See that tail?
Here.
Yeah, that tail. Wicks and tails like to be eaten, all that kind of stuff. And if you do a fib off of the highs back to the lows, that just so happens to be right into reload zones and all that kind of talk. So I mean, I know it's it's so cool when like Colleen, she goes, "Man, I can't believe how this stuff plays out so cliche." Ironically enough, this market is just stunningly cliche. So yeah, you can see Mountain Man sitting there at about 71, 7,200. That would be right into that tail. And then, like we said, 50% haircut from that 30, what is that, 90, I can't read your screen. I think what's that 38.2 level there? That to me looks like
9,600.
All right, so knock that in half. That would be about 4,800 or so. So, yeah, nice little, panic dump into those levels, I think makes perfect sense here. Which, of course, everybody, who's just sitting long crypto is just going to die 1,000 deaths here. So, it sucks, but that is the reality of the market.
Yeah.
But I have to give a big congratulations to guys like Andrew who are just patient and disciplined and waited for their levels, waited, and finally he's getting paid here. So it just goes to show, Andrew, don't listen to all the other people, right? Stick to your plan, follow your plan, and that sets you up for success. So sorry for the interruption. I'll go back on mute.
No, it's good. Always good. That's kind of all I had to say on Bitcoin. Thanks for the input, Brian. I was going to jump into, a zoomed in view of the crypto altcoin market here. I was going to present this chart, but I really don't like it. So we're going to do this one instead, which is we've got Binance altcoin index, we've got Bittrex altcoin index, and then we've got the Schalt altcoin index. You can see how the Schalt one really
That's cool.
decreased
I like that chart.
in price quite a bit more than, and then these are just RSIs. You can see how the Schalt one decreased a bit. It seems like a bit more to me than the other ones, because you can see like here's the lows for these and they're still up here, but here is the lows for the alts and we're already below those lows for most of the Schalt coins, like the shitty altcoins. So this is a case of where maybe fundamentals are starting to come into play, where
it's been like this for the past couple years. They're slowly washing this market out. It's just so painful.
Yeah. And here is, I want to go over, like, look at on all of these. I mean, here is like the one way you could draw it, but the way I had it drawn was like, and maybe this is my fault, I had the RSI downtrend drawn like this. I drew this as my second high, and then as soon as we broke out here, you can see we did rally. I mean, once we had the breakout, I bought, and I was like, whoa, awesome profits, blah, blah, blah. But what I forgot to do is go down to like a 4-hour chart and trigger my alerts to get me out after this broke. Because if I would have gotten out here, I would have been in a nice profit. But now I've just been holding. So now I made a mistake and I didn't pay attention to the alts because I was just working on other things and paying attention to my gold trades that I have going on. And I only owned like 4 different altcoins. I let them go now to their lower levels than what I bought them at. So I'm at a bit of a loss, and I'm trying to decide if I want to hold them or not. But I wouldn't be buying altcoins at all here. I would say that since this breakdown, as everyone knows, total bear, it doesn't help that Bitcoin's going down. Why don't we look at one of the alts I have? OMG is one. Okay, so if we look let's look on the daily chart first. So here's your breakout from the daily. Here's your move higher. Wait, what? Wait a second. Why does this not look right to me? Yeah. Okay.
Are you looking at it versus dollar or versus Bitcoin?
No, I always look versus dollar. I never do versus Bitcoin because Bitcoin moves all the time. It's not. You need to have something that's like static.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just feel like Bitcoin is too. It moves too much. Let me delete this. So here's your uptrend, and then I drew like on the daily, I had a breakout and a signal to buy, and I bought around like here, 106, 107. And I was like, oh, this is awesome when I was at 120. But what I should have done is set an alert here, and then I would have gotten out once we broke here about 108. But I just have been holding it. And now
mistake log. Mistake log. Excuse me.
Mistake log. This is my mistake log, presenting it and talking to everyone. But now, we've got this divergence starting to form, obviously not confirmed again, but, look at the MACD histogram, and then look at the RSI breakout from the downtrend. So I've got this little, hopefully a W forming here, and we may move back up. So I'm not selling them because I'm worried I'm going to sell at the bottom. So I'm holding them, and it's OMG, XLM, and I think Neo that I own, and maybe one other one. They all kind of look the same. Here's the rally, here's the breakdown, and then we've got this potential divergence forming. They all look exactly the same. I really don't, I'll admit another thing. This is another me verbally journaling. I've said it countless times in the past on the show, and I've said, okay, all these altcoins are pretty much interrelated, and even if you buy 3 or 4 different ones, you're not really diversified because they all seem to move together. And you know what I did? I ended up going at 5% in on each of these. But really then my account is almost 20% in altcoins. And when they all move together, it's really not, I don't think it's diversified. I think they all move together, and I'm kind of like 20% at risk in my account. So it was a kind of a dumb thing, and I broke my own rule just because I got excited that finally after months of just sitting in a bear waiting. I've been waiting for this kind of signal for since 2018. I've been waiting for, I don't know, maybe not 2018, but I've been waiting for it for a long time. And it's just been
did price spike up to your 50%
price spiked huge. Yeah. So
and you didn't take any profit.
I didn't sell half on a double level because I'm not doing little old lady. So I didn't even have a sell hit here. By the time I saw this, it had already come back down.
Yeah, okay. I think if anything, everybody watching this, let's take note. No offense, sir, but I do see a few little sort of errors that we teach vehemently in this school that I see you making, and I want you to learn from these mistakes. That's why I think it's actually pretty important that you write this stuff down rather than just verbally saying it.
Well, what's the big mistake if I'm not doing little old lady? Why do I have to sell half on a double if that's not my plan?
Well,
My
just
plan is
having
to
an
sell
open-ended profit objectives is going to go to the moon. That's a bit.
It's
dangerous.
on RSI. It's on RSI breakdowns. I sell.
Well, then that means what we should have heard today is I blew out this position, I blew out that position, I blew out that position. Take your loss. Next bus in 10 minutes. But that's okay. I don't mean to be critical. This isn't the place to beat up on you. This is
so this, like I was saying in the last one, this is where I should have.
I think it's a good idea that everybody watching this, let's make note of some of these mistakes, and maybe you might be making them yourselves. Get that demon finder going, and let's hold ourselves to account. If we didn't do what we were going to do, that's a problem.
Okay, that's why I'm talking about it.
Yeah, so good. And thank you for the candid response. I mean, it's I like the fact that you're being totally open book about this. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. This is all profits I made in the past that I'm losing here. Okay. It still sucks, but it's not like it's income money or anything like that or salary. It's just money I made in the past with altcoins. Okay. So, yes, what I should have done is I usually would set an alert here. But this is what I think I might change about my strategy in the past for altcoins. What I was thinking is that, okay, once the daily breaks out, I will buy. So here's my breakout, right? And then here I bought because I got my signal and I got in here. Now I drew this second line, and I'm supposed to, on the daily, I was thinking, okay, I'll sell when it breaks down from this line. It hasn't broken down here. But what I'm thinking is that in the future, I will then draw the line on the 4-hour chart. I will buy on a daily chart signal, but I will sell on the 4-hour. So I would have gotten out here at basically where I entered. But because the daily, if I look at the daily, I don't want to close it because it still looks okay. I still have an uptrend on the RSI. It hasn't broken down on my trend line. So I'm holding, I'm waiting. We'll see what happens. So that's two of them. I just thought I would talk about it. It's 11:40. Brian, do you want to talk about anything with crypto, or should we jump into the stock market?
I think you covered that pretty well. And really, this is your report day. You lead us. Where do you want to go next?
Well, I always love to talk about the S&P.
All right, S&P.
So let's talk about that. Well, you know what? I said I was going to give a little update on my options course. Why don't we do that? And I'll share with you guys some cool stuff. Okay, so this is kind of like what I'm not going to go into what all this means, but what I've been doing for my option strategies, I want to give you guys 5 strategies. to trade options with. But I want to backtest each of those strategies with about 100 trades each. This is just one of the trading plans I'm testing right now, and it's using a scanner. I'm hoping to duplicate the scanner on our site. Currently, I'm using another scanning software to scan for these. Each of these comes up based on very, very specific criteria that took a little while to come up with. It's based on moving averages, candlesticks, RSI, a couple other things. And then based on that, I take a trade using a option called a butterfly. And, so this is the results so far. A -1 means a full loss. A 1 means 100% return. A 3 means 300% return. 0 is just because this one didn't actually have any options when I went to look it up. So maybe I should just delete that. -1, -100%. 2 is 200% return. So, I just thought I'd show that's kind of what I'm working on. And if you guys are curious, if anybody ever wants to backtest any kind of option strategy, there is this site called Options Analysis, where you can get a free 30-day trial. I don't even think we have like a referral link or anything, but you can get a free 30-day trial and sign up, and you can backtest options from, let me sign back in here. You can go back to 2014 on almost any option for any day. So if I type in the S&P and I say I want to go back to the beginning of this month, it'll update, and then SPY, and I can see the option chain, and it'll let me pick whatever expiration, say I want to pick 27 days from now, update it, and then I can go down here and I've got all the options. I've got calls, I've got puts on the other side, I've got a bunch of different strike prices, and I can make any kind of option I want. If I want to make, let's say I want to make a butterfly, which is, it's always -2, and then 1 and 1 equal on each side. You can go further out if you want. Then I can create this risk graph. Maybe I should go full screen with this. And it can show me, look, okay, so this is how many days you have, 18, 27, 9, and this is your approximate profit that you will get. So see it says profit in dollars at each time period and based on where the price is. And this is implied volatility. It's really cool. And I can just go through and say +1 day. And the next day I will see, okay, did I make anything? No. Did anything change? No. And then I can go to the next day and, it says, okay, I lost $1, -33%. And you can just go through it and go each day. You can even skip days if you want. But it's a really, so now I'm -100%. But say I want to go to like here, it'll probably be -100%. Okay, somehow it's -133. But my point is, if you ever want to test any kind of option strategy, this is a great site to use that I really like, and I've used a couple times over the years. So I just want to share that with you guys really quick, because I think it's cool. And I was never able to find an option back testing tool until I found this site. Okay, so we only got 15 minutes, so let me try to go through the S&P. Does anybody have any questions on that? Questions? Nope. Okay. S&P then. Brian, is my mic working?
Yeah, you sound perfectly fine.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah.
I don't think that's you just sort of threw that out there. I don't think anybody's really going to have any questions about that just yet.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure my mic was working. I know it's kind of like, it's an advanced thing too. I love it, and I haven't found any tool like that. And I looked for I think I looked for a year or a couple of years ago, and I just couldn't find anything until I came across that. It is paid, but the first 30 days are free. So S&P, we had this on the daily chart. We had a breakout here and a huge rally, not huge, but a decent sized rally up to 300. Hit that resistance level again. Everybody's like, we're going to go to new highs. Trump's talking about the stock market again. Sorry, I just sneezed. Sorry about that. But you can see, look, we broke down. So now we've got a breakdown. And from my standpoint, the S&P is now bearish. And I want to be Oh, sorry again. I want to be hunting shorts here. Um, and the best way to see, okay, where is the market going to go is to look at something like this. I think this is fascinating that we have calls at 302, 303, and then like barely any puts. Usually that symbolizes the market's going to go down. And we can see we already dropped, a bit from 300 over the past couple of days. It'd be interesting to look at what do they look like next week. I mean, they're going to change. It's not going to look the same now as it will look as we get closer to that date. But okay, so it has more puts than calls right now. So that means they're gonna right now there's like a floor 292 or so, but that's gonna change. But for me, it's a bear now. I mean, maybe we can look at the 4 hour to see if we get any nice trades or better signals. I would have liked to have taken a trade here at the top here would have been the perfect trade. Because then you could just put a stop right above this and then short it. Now it's a little bit tougher. I still think you could take a shot. Maybe if we can get a move up to 300 again, it'd be a nice trade. Maybe to the top of this trend line. If I saw a move in the RSI up to this trend line, actually I might set an alert. I'm gonna set an alert. If it crosses that, I want an alert. If it even touches it, it should give me an alert and trigger a trade. But so you can see we have an 8 on the TD and then potentially a 9 when this closes. I expect that to put a little bit of a pause and hopefully we get a rally from that. So that's kind of my viewpoint on the S&P. If we look at the options going into tomorrow, it's not going to go above 300, I don't think. Max pain is around this level. I don't like the way this is looking. Normally, I like to see a bit more of a V shape on both sides. So I'm not going to take a trade going into tomorrow. Normally, I like to take a trade going into options expiry, but I don't like the way this looks. So I'm not going to make any big predictions on where I think price is going to go. If I go to the 1 hour, I mean, I can speculate that. Yeah, no, I don't see anything bullish yet. Potential W forming here. If we can break above this 298, maybe we go to 300. But there's no real trade for me here. All I can say is in the higher time frame, it looks bearish. I think Brian, you've been talking about this all week, kind of, and even last week a bit. How the S&P was looking really toppy. And didn't you take?
I'm pissed off that I didn't pull the trigger on the rest of my
Yeah,
put orders.
I thought you were gonna take like some. I thought you had some put trades.
Well, I got puts on the books, and just not as many as I want.
Yeah, how many did you got puts directly on the S&P?
Yep, SPY. Yep.
And 6 months of time.
Yep. Brian, I like to buy lots of time.
I know. Well, okay. So that's my viewpoint on the S&P. Kind of same as Brian. I've been liking to look at Tesla. I just like looking at it. On the daily, you can see it's stuck in this RSI type. It's like a triangle or something. It's like a triangle where we broke through a little bit of a head fake and then a reversal. I think again, this depends on what the rest of the stock market does. If the rest of the stock market breaks down further, I'm sure Tesla will also break down. But you can see it's holding on. This isn't a bad looking level. If we could reverse back down here, I'd consider based on what I'm seeing here. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I was going to say I consider a bit of a long, but I actually wouldn't take one, especially since this lower RSI OBV indicator is saying, is pointing to a little bit more bearish than bullish. So I guess I would err on the side of more bearish than bullish with Tesla. I don't have any super bullish signals. It is holding this trend line, but same as RSI, the trend line and candlesticks in the price action and trend line with RSI, it's holding it, and the histogram, but I don't like how it looks. I would like to see something a little bit stronger. So I don't have a trade, but it's certainly interesting. Did we fill this gap here? We kind of did, but not fully. Would you say this is a gap fill here, Brian? This one? No.
No, I wouldn't call that filled in yet.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
what is that? That's a daily price time? Yeah, I mean, I heard that NIO got absolutely destroyed there the other day. So,
Yeah, it did.
look at that big gap down at looks like about 190 or so. That probably needs filling. And there's also a gap at 210 there. So,
190
looks like Swiss cheese.
right here.
Yeah, yep, right
Right here.
there. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
200.
I guess the way I would look at this is if your RSI does M out here, then we're probably going to have another leg lower. Probably if you zoom
Yeah.
out to the weekly chart, you probably see that AB equals CD there. Yeah, so there it is.
Oh yeah.
That's a
So like
big one
this.
too. That
I see.
unfortunately this stock it could come off a heck of a lot more here. So, you know,
Yeah. So
just
something
like
like
Tesla can dump here, just like Bitcoin just dumped. So,
yeah. Wow. Look at that. Is a serious. Whoa. Look at where it goes to. I have this trend line from back in its lows.
yeah.
Look at that
Well,
trend line I
they
drew
usually
back in 2011.
say what goes up must come down.
Holy crap.
The structural level to get short there was really that counter trend rally that just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the structural level. So.
Yeah. And you can see it's hugging the top of this downtrend line.
Mm-hmm.
That's our RSI downtrend line right there on the weekly.
They don't call it the fall for nothing, people. Just be aware that this is usually the toughest time of year in the stock market, and I don't see any.
Yeah,
reason
looking
why-
at this, Tesla shorts, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Hey, you
Maybe,
got your RSI OBV indicator on there. Eh?
Oh yeah,
Cool.
I've been testing this and stuff. I really like this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
It's kind of
that's
cool.
the script that I gave you. It has 2 moving averages on there. If you
Yeah,
want
I know.
to, you can play around with those moving averages, whatever level you like. But that's cool to see that you got that on your chart now. Right on.
Oh yeah, I love this. I love this thing. It's just like helps a little bit extra confirmation. So yeah, okay. So Tesla, I'm gonna look for shorts. I do now that I've looked at the weekly. I do like maybe a 6-month put or maybe even a leap 1 year. So I got to look at the cost of them. I'll look at it later and then report back next week on it. So remind me if I forget to talk about it. Okay, so Beyond Meat, I always like to talk about Beyond Meat. Here's the daily chart. It gapped up today, and it's looking like it's going to come back down and fill the gap. We have this downtrend. This has got to go down. It's got to fill this gap at 100. We may eventually get that here unless it breaks out from this RSI. But if you were ever thinking about shorting Beyond Meat, I think this opening this morning was probably a great window. You short at the top of the range right here, and you can set your stop at like 175 right above the top of this entire past range, and then just hold it. You get 6 months of time. I wonder how expensive these are, but I still think this has to go down. This is another like Tesla type thing. Obviously, shorter time frame, but
Well,
still
the unicorns are unwinding here. I think that's probably the message. It'd be interesting to look at like Lyft and Uber and stuff like that. I bet you those guys are looking heavy.
Oh yeah, let's look at Uber really quick. Uber Technologies. You want to know what's interesting? I don't know if this is appropriate for the daily brief, but I'll just talk about it. I went on a date last night, and the girl I went out with dated the CEO of Uber Southeast Asia for like a year and a half, back in 2015 or something, when Uber was trying to get into Thailand and everything before it kind of failed. So I guess he wasn't the best CEO if he couldn't make the company succeed here. But that was interesting. Just a little side note from my personal life.
Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. So the question is, did she charge you off of her cell phone?
What? Charge me? What?
Oh, wait a minute. That's the Uber people.
Oh my God. Oh, ha 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 ha. So
Did you have to
fucking.
pay for the date with WeChat?
Oh my God.
I'm just
Nope. Just
kidding.
use a standard old credit card.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll go back on mute. Sorry for the
Yeah.
facetious
Be
comments.
quiet. Go back into your hole. Uber. I feel like Uber doesn't. I mean, Uber's kind of putting in a floor here. You know, it's not. We don't have like any gaps to fill, and it already came off back in this summer. You know, big time. It was at 44. Now it's at 30, and now it's kind of putting in this W price action pattern.
Well, let's let those. I mean, there's no divs at all on your MACD. If anything, I think you got to let this thing settle down a little bit.
You got to let it settle down.
You know,
You
it's
need to.
worrisome. This is the same thing as Tesla. Like I tell you guys, especially if this Trump fucking impeachment stuff gets going. I mean, you might find I can see a bear AB equals CD on that one as well, and it's painting a lot lower. You might find that the whole stock market, just like you. I mean, the interesting thing is, especially for all you crypto people, is you just went through shit. And, you know, congratulations to all of you for surviving this, but there's no reason why the stock market can't go through exactly what crypto just went through. No reason whatsoever. So, I mean, like, zoom out on a weekly chart on that, and I think you can see bear AB equals CDs working there. So, anyway, sorry for the rant. I will be quiet again. Did we lose Julian? Oh, no, you're still there. I heard
Oh
you.
no, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I think all these technology unicorn companies are not looking too good, which makes sense. You know, a lot of, like you said, lots going on in the market. Things are kind of crazy. We'll see what happens. You know, I don't have a trade on this one, but Tesla, I like from a short perspective. If I can just get a move a little bit higher again, and I would love to short it. Okay, gold. So gold is, you know, to me, we finally okay. So this I will admit, this since I've been trading gold so closely. Oh, this has been quite the headache this week. This is a 4-hour chart, in case you guys can't see the 4-hour up there. I thought that gold was in this bear trend here, and on the daily, if I show you the daily really quick, you know, we had this breakdown from these highs. You know, you had this RSI rally, this big huge rally, and then you had the breakdown here, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna break down here, and we're not gonna have any further price action rally. And on the 4-hour, on the 4-hour, I took my shorts at 1520 actually, in the 1520 area, because on the 1-hour, I think it was the 1-hour, I might have just been early. Yeah. On the 1-hour, we had breakdown here. This is why you don't trade on the 1-hour. Just don't do that. Don't make my mistake. I made another mistake. We had a breakdown here on the 1-hour here, and I'm like, okay, I can take my short. And I was taking shorts at 1520 and 1524, and I had my stop set at 1527. It was 1528, right above. Here's the high, 1527, and I set it at 1528. And luckily I had that, because then we went to 1535. And I didn't want to get margin called or anything. I know there's tons of lines here. Let's go back to the 4-hour. Now you'll see that if I stayed with the 4-hour, I still would have missed the trade. So that's kind of why, you know, again, let's go through my thought process. So first I was like, okay, I should stick with the 4-hour, because then I won't make mistakes. But then if I stick with the 4-hour, I would miss a drop like this. And that's kind of why I've been going down to the 1-hour. So what happened is I got stopped out. And then what I did was I looked at this price action, and I waited I let this happen. I got stopped out. I went to sleep, and then I woke up the next day, and I checked, and I saw price around here, and I just shorted, risking against these highs, because I saw the beginning of this 1-hour downtrend, and it broke down from this original uptrend line I had. So there's so many lines here. I'm sorry, this is so confusing. Let me see if I can make this a little nicer. Just 1 second. Okay. All right. Yes, I want to remove that. Okay. So it recaptured this uptrend line, and then it broke down again. And so I drew this downtrend line, and I'm like, look, I'm going to just short from here, 1530 level, and I'm going to risk to these 1536 highs. And I'm glad I got back in the trade, because even though I had losses from getting stopped out here, I was able to get back in the trade and ride it all the way down. Now, I had a sell at 1500. I am not sure why I did not get filled on my exchange at 1500. Wait, actually, I think I am, because it didn't actually go to 1500, did it? No, you can see everywhere here it went to 1500.17. So that was very frustrating to me, because that makes a big difference. You know, it drops down and then goes back up. And so what happened here is I ended up closing my trade at about 1508, and then now I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens. I think we are going to break down further here. You can see on the 1 hour we have this uptrend and it's breaking down, and I think that because of these higher time frames. Here, so this 4 hour totally negative. You know, had the uptrend, broke down. Now we're sitting down here. As long as we're below my blue VIP line, that's bearish on the 4 hour. And then daily, we have this whole breakdown. The daily, I wish was more bearish. It's not as bearish as I would like to see it, but we are below the bull level, and we come up, stop people out, but we have our divergence. So, well, not really a divergence. It kind of lines up with price action. And, you know, it's slightly bearish on the daily chart. So I think we will move lower, and you can see already we're at 1504, while earlier today we went up. While we would rebounded to 1510, and now we're reversing. And I'm hoping, you know, we can do this ABCD. I want to see this move in gold. And I know it's top of the hour, Brian, but you know, I want to talk about a couple of these things.
That was Kevin who reminded you of that. But yeah, nonetheless, good point, Kevin. You know, finish your presentation, but we are running out of time here.
Okay. So, you know, I think it's not a coincidence that this little ABCD comes right down to the previous lows. Down here, 1483. So I'm looking for a move down there. And that's where I'm going to hopefully close another short and make a nice profit. So that's gold. And then I also wanted to look at gold options. I've been trying to look at these, and you can see we have all these calls. Quick gold, GLD. And you can see how it's coming down 142. So you can see right at OPEX level, 142. I mean, it's hilarious. I really need to start looking at this more, because I think this dictates more of Friday's price action than I had originally thought it did. We're not going to go below 140 today. It's just not going to happen. So we're gonna stay around this level. I think this is the perfect level for people to experience max pain. Thai baht, by the way, on a weekly chart. This is my last thing. Thai baht on a weekly chart. You can see we broke down and we went lower, but we didn't go that low. We kind of it just stopped, and now you can see it's trying to break out higher on the weekly. So if we can close out this week with a bit of a rally up to maybe 30.7. Maybe we can recapture this uptrend line and move higher. And that means the Thai baht will finally weaken and the US dollar will strengthen against it. I think this is more of a function of US dollar strength. If I look at the US dollar strength and Thai baht weakening. And I think that's because of, you know, what's going on with Trump and the potential, you know, I think the US dollar rallied because of, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like him releasing the supposed transcript of the conversation was a big positive thing that was a relief. Okay, there's no way he can get impeached now. He released it. There's no quid pro quo or anything going on here. The Democrats are just kind of I don't know if you want to say almost filibustering in a way, just trying things to delay the inevitable or to, you know,
as I said
just
before,
grasping at straws.
Because
they know they can't beat him.
this feels more politics than reality.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think that frankly speaking, what's going on in the U.S. dollar index, I don't think has anything to do with Trump. This is really more, in my opinion, a question about global growth. And a lot of times when investors get scared, I mean, you see what the stock market's doing. Julian said he's feeling bearish. Brian's got
Yeah,
puts
that's true.
working.
So it makes sense.
It's people are just asking themselves, do I want to have my money invested in stocks, or do I just want to go and just buy some T-bills and just ride all this shit out? And that's what I think's happening here is that, and the interesting thing is that the United States of America right now, it's definitely the best looking market. I mean, do you really want to go and take a chance and invest a bunch of money into like China right now to buy growth? Do you want to take your money and invest it in Europe, like Germany? We see recessionary data. Theoretically, their economy is contracting right now. So really, I think the U.S. dollar index here, and kind of what I talked about yesterday, if you're gonna have your money working anywhere in the world, remember I showed you that graphic. The United States of America now, their short-term interest rates are 100% higher than all of their trading partners. Every single one, the United States is paying a better interest rate. So. That's not a growth sort of scenario. That's what, we better tighten our belts and just let's ride out this shit. And that's why I think the U.S. dollar is doing as well as it is. So,
very very well said.
I think you could make the argument that the political uncertainties of the world, they're not helping the situation.
No.
And, I've always said this from like literally, months and maybe even years ago. Trade wars never end well. Never. And really, everything that I see.
Maybe this is meant to happen. This market's. It's
well,
been like
and
10 years
I also make that argument hugely, is that the stuff that Mr. Trump is putting into place right now, it's actually, we're heading into a 17-and-a-half-year growth cycle. It takes time for these cycles to kick in, no doubt about it. But, everything that Mr. Trump is doing is going to help United States of America, Inc. over the next 10, 20 years. I absolutely, totally agree with that. But in the short term, it doesn't surprise me that trade war is it's not helping the economy in the short term.
Yeah, of course not.
Anyway, that's my input there. We're getting well past the top of the hour.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
All right, you feel like you've said your piece?
Yeah, I'm ready to go to sleep.
All right. Why don't we send you off to Betty Bye? Somebody get Julian a demon finder, and maybe just make a little journal log entry before you actually go to sleep. If we could.
The last time I ever share my mistakes.
Well, yeah, and let's there was a gentleman on the site. He knows who he is, who made a mistake on. I think it was. I don't think it was XLM, but it was one of those kind of coins. And he sent me a message. He said, "Brian, I made this mistake. It's going to cost me a few dollars. What should I do?" And I just said, "Look, mistakes are mistakes. Clean it up as fast as possible." And he did take the loss, and it hurt. But then the coin just absolutely collapsed on the other side of the event. And in hindsight, he's going, "Oh, thank God, Brian. Yes, thank you for at least pointing me in a good direction here." So please, sir, I don't want to hear stories that your account's blown up because you just held these things to and just.
No, like I said, it's only less than 20%. So I don't know how the other 80% is in cash. So I have no idea how it would blow up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Why don't we? We'll leave the call at that today. Thank you so much. Excellent content and commentary for the site. And if anything, let's keep working at this as we go. I love your approach, and I love seeing your dedication. and your very unique perspective. I think it's healthy for the site to hear somebody other than Brian ranting all the time. Okay, so on that note, we'll bring it into the broadcast. I don't know whether there's anything else I wanted to show you here from my perspective. So I think we can call it a day. So have yourselves a great day, everybody. Play from a position of strength. Vet your trading plan, your setups out. You're not going to be right 100% of the time. Just get used to it. And let's make sure we all remember our absolute number one job here as traders. So have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much for the baby powder report. All the best. And the only thing left for Brian to say at this point, and maybe Julian could say it today, is
Bye for now.
great job.
I like to say bye, everybody.
All right.
Just so you know.
Bye.